Let's go ahead and bring in Steiner Sports CEO, Brandon Steiner.
One of the country's top memorabilia mogul.
I have an unbelievable guest, Brandon Steiner.
Brandon's second to none.
I think I've got one of the great retail gurus with me and a good friend, Mitch Modell from Modell Sporting Goods CEO, and obviously somebody who's extremely well known, particularly in the East Coast, but even nationally. People know you when you want value, which is something that you could do for someone that they can't do for themselves. That's what Modell's does. You go into Modell, you can't find a deal. You can't find value when you need sporting goods. You need to go get 5 pairs of sneakers for your family. Everyone knows you got to go to Mo's. Now, I told Mitch, do not come here empty-handed. So he did bring, gift cards and everything. So with your questions that you asked this morning, we got to give away some stuff. Plus, we're going to give away some Steiner stuff. I'm just
good Steiner stuff, or you're cleaning out your closets?
No, the good Steiner stuff. By the way, I'm just defrosting from the last 2 days of Yankee baseball. I didn't realize it was going to be football weather, but can you believe they don't start in Florida and the West Coast in the domes? We got to sit there. Why can't they start 2 weeks later? Start on the West Coast.
Tuesday, I felt like I was at a football game in December. It was crazy.
But it was a great networking party in Legends, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
I mean, I've got more business done. I was like almost good. Glad it's raining. Glad the weather's bad. I'm in Legends with like 300 gazillionaires that are all influential and everything else. And
you go there to watch the game? I go there to network. Listen, who taught us about networking more than anybody on this planet?
That's why I don't sit next to you anymore.
Harvey McKay.
There's no question, but that's why I don't sit next to you anymore. Because we'd sit next to each other behind home plate in the old stadium, and everybody would next day say, you did not watch 1 minute of the game. You were just talking to Mitch and all these people coming over to you. But I've met a lot of people when I sat next to you. I miss that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Of characters, man. Mitch, why sporting goods? Why the retail, especially these days, the grind? But how'd you get into this whole thing? I mean,
well, they tell me I was delivered a silver spoon, right? And when I said to my dad, I go, Dad, how come I can't get this? He goes, listen, we both eat with the same spoon. I go, yeah, but yours is a lot larger than mine. But anyway, it all started back in 1889 by my great-grandfather Morris, who started with one store on Cortlandt Street where the old World Trade Center was. And then his son, Henry, took over the business. And then my father took over the business. And then my brother and I took over the business. And unfortunately, my brother Michael passed away in 2001. And life goes on.
Miss Michael, unfortunately with Crohn's colitis, which is a big charity for you in remembering Michael. And Michael was a big part of it all. But you were given a little bit of a head start, but it's amazing what you've done. How? I mean, what's the key ingredient? You took a bunch of stores and now have turned it into a lot of stores. How many stores do you have? And what do you think the key ingredient to growth is?
Well, we have 158 stores. The key ingredient to growth is about your people. It's all about your associates. We're blessed that we have a great executive team. We have great associates that really care about the customer and are willing to do anything possible to serve the customer as best as we possibly can.
You've been doing this a while. Have you ever seen it, I don't want to use the word difficult, but challenging? Because, the online, web, but then, you still got to go in that store, try on those sneakers. How are you dealing with the adjustments and changes?
Well, you know what happened? It's the whole power shifted. It shifted from the manufacturers, then it went to the retailers, and now the power is truly in the customer's hands. Because of technology, the customer could, shop any item online. How do I buy it the cheapest, the fastest? E-commerce, Amazon changed the whole game of retail, made everyone really step it up, particularly, companies like Walmart and us and everybody else. And so, you got to change with the times. That's what it's all about, because the customer, it's moving so quick. And it's just incredible. The new technologies that are out there, are like, how do you connect with the customer the best? And those are the people who are going to win.
What's the value of Models? Because as a kid growing up, I only shopped at Models and still do. I mean, just because I just always feel like I'm going to get the best deal, and I know I'm not going to overpay. How do you see the value proposition at Models?
Well, we feel our brand is very strong. It's about trust. And I think the customer trusts us. We don't come in with these phony, 50 off sales, 70 off sales. We don't need a sale. Customer could come in any day of the week, go online, go to a store, and get great value. And that's what it's all about.
Can I get that code? Can I get that 50 off code though before we end it? I'm gonna need that. I didn't know that. You probably have a secret code though for the friends and family, or no? Right,
is the podcast still on, or do you want me to?
No, we'll get that. Brother's got to ask now.
Here, Brent. Here's a $10 gift card.
By the way, if you have a question for Mitch, we're going to be taking your questions. Anything about retail, what's going on with the sporting goods, what's going on with footwear, which is very intriguing to me, like with Under Armour, Nike, Adidas, that war. Does that help ultimately the customer? What's going on now with these three? Is Under Armour in good shape? I know you're a big Kevin Plank fan, but what's going on there?
You know what? At any given time, we all go through bumps, we go through challenges, whatever. Kevin is a bright guy, competitive guy. But you know what? First of all, it's healthy for the industry when one company rises and then the other company says, you know what, we got to do better. And it just makes for great competition. It elevates the game. People spend more time and money from the manufacturing side, trying to raise the game in terms of technology, new products.
What's hot? What's hot right now? That seems to be growing. What part of the business?
Hand warmers are probably the hottest thing we have right now. Particularly, it's 30 degrees outside. But
and you're not kidding, right? I mean, if you go to a game, you probably right.
I'll tell you, our active fleece sales are through the roof.
Really?
Yeah, which is not a good thing. When we wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock and we get our sales and we look at the top sellers. When fleece is selling April 1st, it's your #1 best selling, and shorts and T-shirts are at the bottom of the barrel. That's not a good sign. It's usually based on weather.
How's the licensed goods doing? I mean, and also particularly like this Kevin Durant and a Curry sneaker. Is that still stuff king?
Yeah, I mean, look, kids aspire to be the athletes. When we talk about licensed, with us, it's all about winning. It's all about putting a winning product on the field. And you know what? When you look at the Eagles, 2 years ago, we were 50 off on Eagles after the season ended. This year, we had one of the biggest hits in licensed ever in our company's history because of the Eagles. And so it's all about the fan. It's all about the emotional
Who's
impact
hot on
of
the Eagles,
fan.
by the way? What's driving those Eagles sales now?
Number 1, 2, and 3 is Wentz, and more Wentz.
Still,
even being hurt, he was number 1. It was incredible.
Wentz held up.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think they're going to repeat? You feeling?
I think they got a great team
in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this though: what happens if the Eagles lose? How much money does that? What kind of effect does that have on you? Did you have to pre-print stuff, being ready for the win? Did you have to gamble there? Is there a gamble?
We pre-printed over 300,000 units before the game, and I kept telling people,
is that why there was an ambulance outside your house?
No, that's why we had a lock on my window. Okay, and just to make, I would tell people, they go, "Are you excited about the game?" I go, "I don't know about excited, but I'll tell you what. If the Eagles don't win, okay, read the front page of the New York Post." They go, "Why?" I go, "You're going to see CEO of Models commit suicide by jumping out of the window." I mean,
that's a big market for you. I mean, where do you get the balls to do that? I mean, if they lose, I mean,
Brandon, I read your book. You got to have balls, okay? And I read it twice before the Super Bowl, and I go, what the hell? Go for it. But do you like that plug, by the way?
Thank you.
Do you like that plug?
By the way, if you
aren't you coming out with a third book in June? Could you tell the people?
I am coming.
Tell
out
the
with
people.
book.
Don't be shy. Tell them about the third book.
It's an element of surprise, and they're going to have to keep tuning in to find out about the third book. But it's going to be great. It's, I think, my best book out of all three.
This was a great book. My kids loved it.
Thank you. But that is a lot of balls. I mean, what happens if they lose? How much? I mean, and by the way, what kind of upswing are you able to talk about? What kind of upswing when an Eagles wins?
We won't talk about the numbers, but here's the math. Customers expect us to have the goods after the game. Period. The end. And
literally after the game, like 10 minutes later.
Right. So in a Super Bowl, we'll open up the stores after the game. The challenge is, and I called it the who was the promoter? Who was the big boxing promoter?
Or Bob King? Or
Don King,
yeah,
right?
Don King.
With the hair.
Oh, yeah.
We had the Don King promotion this year, right? We had the Patriots in Boston. We had the Eagles in Philadelphia. So when you have two boxes and he owns them both, you know what? You can't lose. The difference is the factor, Eagles, because they haven't been there before.
Which is going to be bigger.
Right. And the Crafts that have a great franchise up in New England, Everyone's got a Brady.
But
Everyone's got a championship.
But you're
Super
up in
Bowl
Boston,
t-shirt.
though. You could have been. It would have been a win for you if Boston.
It would have been, but it
not
wouldn't
the same.
No, because everyone's got a Brady jersey. They have a Super Bowl champion T-shirt in the closet.
What are you going to do if the Eagles would have lost? Like, what would you have done? I mean, what happens to all that merch?
I would have disappeared. I would have disappeared. You would have said. You would have been at my. Would you have done my eulogy?
I would have made up something.
But you would have showed up at the
Yeah,
funeral.
of
Okay.
course. Hopefully I'm not doing your eulogy. Hopefully on both of our tombstones it says Mitch Modell, Brandon Steiner lived longer than any other man has ever lived. That'd be good to be on our tombstones.
Only if you had good health.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't fathom, like, if all of a sudden they lost, what you would do.
I'm sitting in my chair. I'm at the Super Bowl. I had my boys there. I got to tell you, it was
nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking. Even to the last second. When Brady threw that Hail Mary, I go, I can't believe we're going to go into overtime. I can't believe it.
Networking. You're an unbelievable networker. I think the two things that surprise me about you, which people don't realize, talk about this silver spoon, is your ability to still network and also your ability to learn. Like, you're in my office, you're grabbing books.
How many books did I steal from you today?
I think you had at least 5 or 6.
I not steal. I borrowed, huh?
This is not a library situation, but you always come up, and a lot of times you're doing store visits, which I can't believe you still do store visits.
I'll be doing 8 today.
What's the value going to a store? What's this value in a store visit? Because I think a lot of CEOs are not bouncing around into their operations. They're not going into their warehouse. Obviously, you did a show, which was extremely moving. What kind of effect did that have on you?
Undercover Boss.
Undercover Boss was very emotional. I cried. I'm not going to lie. If you haven't watched that episode, you need to.
Season 4, episode 1. It was the season's premiere.
What did that episode mean to you? What did it do?
You know what? It was life-changing, because when you put yourselves in your associates' body and you think about, if I'm looking at it, first of all, I look at our stores, I look at our truck drivers in a completely different way. I used to look at our truck drivers, they're important, they're a great asset to the company, but you know what? When you live and breathe with them and you see the work and the hard work that goes in the distribution center and you see the love and the caring that the associates have, it really brought me down to, it really grounded me, really grounded me.
Kind of a reality check.
It was unbelievable. But when you ask the question about why do I go to the stores, the closer we are to the customer, the better our decision-making process will be. You can't make decisions from being in what we call our office is a support center. Because we're there to support the store, to help the customer. And when you go to the stores, you find out what the real world is. You talk to cashiers, you talk to the managers, the assistant managers, the key associates in the store. What's happening? What are you out of? What are the customers saying? You don't get that from the office. People want to tell you what you want to hear. When you're in the store, you find out what the real world's about. I love it.
How many store visits would you do in over a couple-month period?
Well, let's say between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'll hit every store once, minimum.
182?
158 stores from Thanksgiving Eve.
158 stores in like a month?
In 1 month. It's on a tear. But listen, I'll spend 10, 15, 20 minutes in a store, but you feel the pulse.
Yeah.
You could walk in and you could say, you know what? Am I walking into a place that's alive? People are vibrant. You can feel the energy of the associates. And very, very rarely you walk into a store where, it's like, where's the manager? You feel like it's out of control. I love it when I go to a store, the manager's not there, and the place is humming, and it's moving as though the manager's there. That's a sign of a great man, because that's a sign of a great manager.
Do you believe great store, great manager, bad store, shitty manager?
Oh, yeah, no question about it. The impact the manager has in motivating the associates. Every morning we wake up, open up the store, we have a Mo's huddle. And you could see the energy and the enthusiasm with the associates, but with the manager talking about what was yesterday's sales, what's the chores for today, what's the letter of the day. Every day we have a core value letter of the day that 4,300 associates talk about.
I think they should be getting my blog, by the way. I get that core letter. It's already played out. I think it's time to change over to my blog. I think you should incorporate that in.
You're always selling, Brandon.
Yeah,
You're always selling.
I'm trying to help
How many
you
people?
sell.
You have 450,000 people on your blog. I remember when you told me you were just starting.
No, I couldn't get 100, but I threatened all the employees that I couldn't guarantee them employment tomorrow if they didn't register. That's how I got to my first 100.
And then you told them to sign up to 10 more people?
Well, I was telling them that for weeks they weren't doing it, which is, par for the course. But at some point, the customers started calling and saying they liked the blog. So I think the salespeople started, for their own self-interest, sharing my blog. But my blog will be perfect for your staff.
I loved reading your blogs every morning.
Seriously.
I mean, when you did your talk to our associates, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
Would you do a guest blog for me? That would be fun.
Do I get paid for it, or this is like pro bono type stuff? Well, we're friends.
I think it'd be deferred compensation.
That means I'm not getting paid.
Starting like in the year 2050, I'll put some stuff away. When we get old, we'll have that money put away
with interest,
royalties, with some interest. Yeah.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think you'll be around 125 at that point. I guess that is a good question. How old are we going to be living? Especially running around in retail. Is that wearing you down, or is that livening you up? Is that going to those stores and talking to customers, energizing you? Because you're still an unbelievable networker. How do you still have the energy for that?
It's funny. Someone called me up yesterday. They go, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" I go, "Phenomenal. Phenomenal. How could it be phenomenal?" I go, "Listen, I woke up. I'm standing vertical. When you stand vertical, it's a great day. When I'm standing horizontal, it's not such a good day."
Yeah, it's true. What do you tell people that are out there that want to learn how to network? Because I think you've been one of the great networkers. You've been a mentor for me. I've learned a ton about meeting people, following up with people, inspecting, not what you expect, what you inspect. What's your key to good networking?
Read Harvey Mackay's book on networking. And Harvey taught me a couple of tidbits that are great. For example, when I go to a charity event, charity event starts at 7. I'd get there at 7:30, see what's happening. One day I go with Harvey to a charity event. He wants to get there at 6. I go, "Harvey, the thing starts at 7. He goes, No, I want to get the list. What list? I want to get the list of people that are there. Then we're going to walk the room, and you're going to go through the first 2 rows in the charity event, okay? Because those are the most important people. Those are the people that pay the most amount of money. You don't care about the guy in row 12. You care about the guys or the gals in rows 1 and 2. Then we get the list. He takes out a pad and he goes, Brandon Steiner, table number 4. Mitchell Modell, table number 98. You always had better seats than me, Brandon. So anyway, I'd make up a list, right? I'd get the list. Sometimes they go, we can't give out the list. We give them one of these. We'll give him a gift card, okay? And it works every time like a charm. So I get the list. I work the room. And, by the way, you know who did this? God bless him, who I loved, and you loved him too, Bob Tisch. Bob would do the same thing. He would navigate through those tables, and if it was a great, you would never, by the way, he had like 4 events every night. I'd maybe have 1 or 2. He'd have 4, but he'd look at the list and he goes, Brandon Steiner's there. I need to meet with him. I'm staying here for dinner. So I always said, Bob, you having dinner? He goes, I'm not sure. What do you mean not sure? Well, I'm going to see what's happening. Oh, you want to see who's here? I get it. So it's
Time
about...
is valuable. But I've known you to be at stores, not only yours, but competitor stores. Where can you learn about the competition?
You're not going there, Brandon, are you? Are you talking about Undercover Boss number 2? We're not going there.
I've seen you around other like sports authorities and Foot Lockers. I mean, are you keeping a close eye on competition?
Oh, you always have to check what the competition is. In fact, when we were in Philadelphia and I was with my boys Monday and Tuesday, the day after the Super Bowl, we spent a lot of time in our competition just checking what kind of merchandise they have, what was the action, what goods do they have that we didn't have, and it's the only way you learn.
Mitch, you got listen, for your boys, it's a pretty good head start. How do you get your kids grounded, to be hardworking, not get caught up in the entitlement? There's a lot of people out there always come to me and always talk about the concern you have for your kids and giving them too much of a head start, giving them too much. Your kids, seem so grounded, focused, and into the business, but...
It's about values. Every day they get a business lesson. I'll call them up at night, speak to them, and talk about what happened today. Here's a situation that developed. Here's how we handled it. Or they'll spend time with me in the stores during the holidays or on Saturdays. And, it's all about education. The same thing my father did with my brother and I. He'd be driving. We'd be in the front seat, back seat. We'd be taking notes as to...
Really?
When we were young, 7, 8 years old, I have to call Seymour Karsh. I have to call Bob Reinhardt. Make sure, why are you calling them? And that's how you learn. And you learn, obviously, by reading. I read so many books in my days.
Got a couple of favorites?
Harvey Mackay's the NBA book, Swimming with the Sharks.
Swimming with the Sharks is a no-brainer. Dale Carnegie, How to Win
Dale
Friends,
Carnegie,
Influence
yeah.
Friends.
Yeah.
A couple others?
Good to Great, phenomenal book.
And that seems to get lost through the cracks lately.
Yeah.
From Good to Great. That was one of the great books.
Yeah, but you know, there's so many books out there today. But you know, it's all about education, and it's hanging around smart people, right? My mother always told me, "Show me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are." Right? You hang around with a gambler, you're gonna become a gambler. Hang around with a druggie, you're gonna become a drug addict. Hang around with smart people, it might rub off. You become smart. And so, which is why, you know, you and I, we go to a lot of different sporting events, you know, going to the Garden, going to the Delta Room. It's not about the game. It's about meeting all the people you do business with.
The right people, yeah, meeting the right people. It's amazing how the focus is on getting in the right school, getting into the right team, the right Little League team, but not enough focus on hanging out with the right people. As a parent, like, your kid's going to learn what he wants to learn. You can push him and you can guide him to a good education, but nowhere near as important as the friends that your kids hang out with. Ben, we got a couple questions.
You're getting a lot of questions.
Got a question from Mitch Modell. This is a participation part of the show, and plus also we're going to be giving out some gift cards.
Can we talk about the sale we're having this week? Or
hold on one second.
Can we talk about the sale we're having this week?
I want to know your favorite thing you've ever bought from Modell's. If you're a customer out there, you bought something from Modell's, what's your favorite and why? Why? And based on some of those answers, like, what's the best thing about shopping at Modell's? He wants that feedback. We'll go out.
How about we'll give away a $25 gift card for the first one who says, "What's our jingle?"
I love that. What is our jingle? Oh, we'll find out in a minute.
For $25, you're going to find out.
Exactly. What's the sale, by the way, going on? We got to at least share. I mean, something.
Big sale that ends this Saturday. Buy one, get one 50 off on footwear. You could buy slides, sneakers. I mean, look at these.
There's
sneakers.
a store across the street.
I've had sneakers. My grandfather.
I need some new sneakers, by the way. Size 13. But I wear Kobe's or LeBron's. Like, you got that kind of. You got some cool sneakers in there.
Yeah, we got great sneakers. How about Yankee and Met T-shirts for $10?
Can I ask you something about? I was in the store the other day. I saw that for $9.99. I almost fell off. I was like, whoa. But aren't you concerned with some of the license goods being so expensive? It seems like the prices have gone up a lot, or is it my imagination? Is there a lot of royalties there, or does it just seem like all of a sudden it's $39 for a Yankee T-shirt?
You didn't go to Motels and find it to you. Maybe you bought 4 of them for $40. $10 for Mets and Yankee T-shirts. How do we do it?
How do you do it?
It's all about giving the customer phenomenal value. If they go online, they're going to see someone.
Well, it's $39. I was on one of the websites, and it's like, that's crazy.
You weren't on a Modell's website. You would just find it for $10. Mets or Yankees, or Phillies.
You're right.
Or Red Sox. Or Nationals.
Someone come up with a jingle?
Well, a bunch of people did. The first person that won it is Barbara.
Barbara, I love it. Could Barbara sing it?
Well, she commented it, but
tell Barbara to phone in. We'll put.
Can we have a phone in and sing the jingle? We might put her on the air.
If Barbara can send us her phone number, then yes.
Come on, Barb. We want to hear the jingle. We got to hear it. Come on. Gotta love it. What was the question?
I do have a question from somebody from Sienna. She asked your best advice for starting a business.
The best advice in starting a business: look at the white space. Is the business you're starting have a lot of white space, meaning like there's nobody there. If you're going to be competing against everybody, you can't be a Me Too person in a Me Too world. Where is the white space? And whatever you do, you got to love it. You got to have passion, right? You always say, like, boy, you always wake up, you're so energized. Same with you. Look at this. Look at the veins, okay? The veins. It's all about in the veins. And you got to love what you do. And to me, I never worked a day in my life. Because when you love what you do, it's not considered work.
I always
it's a
say
labor of love.
I always say find the vein. You know, like a doctor.
Find the vein or find the pulse?
No, I say find the vein because, you know, when you go to a doctor, you know, to find the vein for the blood. It's like with business, try to find the vein. You know, something which is comparable to the white space. Find that open opportunity where you get to the, you know, the vein will take you right to the artery and everything else.
Right. And then you always ask the question, by the way, we ask this question every day. If Steiner Sports went out of business tomorrow morning, who would miss you? If Modell's went out of business, who would miss you? And if your business model allows the customer to allow you to go out of business, then you got a problem. You got to fix it. For example, if Starbucks went out of business, people would go crazy, right? If Disney,
they'd riot.
If Disney World went out of business, people would go crazy. But why do they allow other retailers? because they didn't serve the customers well. There was no purpose for them to be around.
That's great.
You got to have a purpose.
Ben, a couple more.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question. What continues to motivate you every day to run Models?
You've made a lot of money. You don't have to work anymore.
I got to support 2 ex-wives and 5 kids. Is that enough of an incentive?
Not really. Not really. What? I mean, you always.
You know what? It's part of my DNA. It's, you know what? It's about winning the game. It's about the challenge. You know, every day is a new day. You know, last week was about Villanova. You know, do we pre-print? What's the story?
Did you pre-print?
Of course, but we waited till after. Our buyers were smart. They go, let's wait till after Saturday, right? So instead of
Print on Monday.
printing Monday morning, we were able to pick up the goods in the afternoon, had them in the stores before the game started, and you know, the rest is history. Not as strong as it was in the past, surprisingly.
Because the second time around is
And they
always-
just won 2 years ago. But you know what? When we saw how much we sold the first time and the missed opportunities, and we figured, you know what? Here's a great. But look, there's still a lot of leg room for us to sell goods.
Ben?
1 second. A lot of people asking about Undercover Boss, about just what the experience sort of behind the camera was, and just kind of going through that process. I know we touched on it.
How long did that
before.
take you to film that?
About a week. It took 1 week. And, you know, when you're an undercover boss, they don't tell you about the problems that the associates are facing. They just say, you know, go speak to David and ask him about his story, or, you know, any of the associates. It was just unbelievable experience.
It seemed riveting when, you know, knowing you, and I remember you seemed emotionally drained. You seemed very changed, obviously, from that point going forward. But it seemed very riveting. Was it really gut wrenching to get in the inside of all the nooks and crannies of your company?
I'll tell you what was gut wrenching. You know, our mission statement is listen, respect, and respond.
Listen, respect, and respond.
Right. And by the way, that could apply to any business. How do we make sure we always listen to our customers? How do we make sure we're always listening to our associates? And how do we make sure we listen to our vendors? How do we make sure we respect them? When I go into a store and someone goes, hey, Mr. Modell, Mr. Modell is my father. He passed away 10 years ago. I'm Mitchell. Okay? Everyone's on a first name basis. I don't care who you are, what position you have in the company. And then it's about being responsive. You know, how do we make sure we respond to our associates, our customers, and our vendors? Responding means a vendor calls up, you call them right back, even if it's a new one or someone we never heard of before. An associate asks a question. We have a policy called the 48-hour policy.
Tell me about it.
So a 48-hour policy, if I'm an associate in the store and I call, let's say, a buyer, and I go, I need Yankees sweatshirts, and I don't get a response within 48 hours, I have the right to go above that person's head without any repercussions. I own the problem until I get it solved. There's only 4 people, or 3 or 4 people between a store and myself. We're a pretty flat organization. So whenever there's a problem, the first thing I always say is, you know, who'd you speak to? You own the problem. The 48-hour policy, does it work or not work? Every month we have what's called most traditions. Anybody that's either newly promoted in our store or someone who just started with the company. And it's about 10, 12 people, and we talk about the company, we find out where they were, how come they left their previous job, and I always talk about the 48-hour policy. Who knows about the 48-hour policy? They all raise their hand. Give me an example. Have you used it? No, not yet, but we've heard about it. So, you know, again, it's all about the values in a company.
Pushing people to go further. Have people gotten to you, though? Have people had to come to you and say, you know, Mitch, I went to 3 people below you and now I need an answer?
Yes, and that's disturbing. But I got to tell you, lately, the last couple of years, very rare does it ever come to me. Because people know, it's like, tell me why you couldn't solve the problem. If someone came to you with a problem and you don't have the answer or you don't have the wherewithal, go find out. Okay?
People
but just don't sit on a problem.
Well, I called Mitch. You know, people use the excuse. Well, I called somebody. I left them a message. I didn't hear back from them. That's their excuse.
You own the problem. The key is you own it.
So it's resolved.
Right. You own it. So we can't say, well, and I'll tell you how it started. I'm in a Yonkers store 15 years ago, and I'm standing in the store and I'm talking to the manager. I got my I'm talking like this, so what's happening? All of a sudden, I feel something on my shoulder. And I look up and I go, you got a leak up in the roof. Oh, I called it in a month ago, and the thing's getting worse, and here's the bucket. And I go, well, who'd you call? He called. They never call back. Then you spend hours going, show me the email. Well, that time there weren't even emails. Show me the call. Did you call? The fax. By that time, Anyway, I said, we got to do something. Create the 48-hour policy. And to this day, we've had it, and it's ingrained. Go into any store, ask any associate, what's the 48-hour policy, and they'll tell you.
I know. By the way, what's your newest store? What's the last newest store you've opened up?
Next Thursday. Boy, I love this plug day. Kings Highway, we're opening up.
Old neighborhood,
Old neighborhood, Kings Highway.
Remember the address? What's the address?
Remember the McDonald's and Kings Highway?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's down like on 11th or, no, it's like 14th
14th,
Street?
yeah. So right there. And we're opening up next Thursday. We were supposed to open 2 weeks ago, but we had some issues with the snow and the rain.
Kings Highway or what Kings Highway is. It's like 5th Avenue in Manhattan, but in Brooklyn.
But it's a great melting pot.
It's unbelievable.
A great melting pot of people. It's great. We're very excited.
By the way, if you're in Brooklyn right now, the first person to give me, we're going to send a $25 gift card. If you're anywhere near Kings Highway, so you use this gift card for the new opening next week on Kings Highway. You got to be in Brooklyn, in Flatbush. If you're listening, email in. Message in. We'll give you a gift card for $25.
I'll be there for the opening next Thursday.
You using any athletes? I mean, brother's got to ask.
I love it. No, you know what? We have phenomenal items. Phenomenal items.
What would you do? Is it harder to do a grand opening these days than in the past to create that customer activity, or people kind of love the fact that you're opening up a new store and they want to check it out?
When you see the prices are insane.
Really?
Insane, yeah.
You're a big price guy. Do you believe that you can't have price, quality, and service? You believe you can't have all three?
You got to have all three. It's It's how does the customer feel when they leave the store? Do they feel better or worse when they leave the store?
So if I'm walking into your store, but this is like a big problem with Sports Authority. We could throw them under the bus for staying around anymore, but I never would see anyone. No one. I mean, there's no way. You're in this big box. I mean, God help you if you needed help. I've never gone into Modell's with somebody's not hit me at the door and then hit me wherever I am in the particular store. Is service your number one uno?
Serving the customer is our number one mantra. Serving the customer comes in a lot of different flavors.
Yeah.
Are we in stock? Are we signed properly? Does the store look crisp? Is it easy to navigate through the store? How long did I wait on the register? Was there a long line, or we serve? Our managers know more than 3 people online. Open up another register. Were you greeted? Did you walk out without a package? So it's all about the experience, and all those things. Which is why when you asked the question earlier, what effect does the manager have? If the manager enforces those rules, I call them Mitchellisms. How do we make sure that they enforce that?
How important is the Yankee relationship and partnerships with teams? You have partnerships with some different teams, and how important is that, and how does that help you? Why do that? Why do you need to have Modell signs all over Yankee Stadium or in Philadelphia, for the Flyers and that sort of thing?
So in the beginning, it was all about, as we changed our formats from, more of an Army, Navy surplus store to a sporting goods chain. We want to identify with sports. When we went into new markets like Boston and Washington and Philadelphia, sports was a big part of that business because how else would people identify us as being a sporting goods chain? But it's interesting. Today, we had no relationships with the Eagles, okay? And yet we were 40% of the marketplace.
Wow.
40%. We were bigger than anybody combined. In terms of our market share. Fanatics does a great job, but from a brick and mortar standpoint, we were the player. And we didn't have a relationship, but people know us that, if you want license and you want, your local team merchandise, and if they win, we've got the goods.
We're giving away. Remember this moment?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This moment. This Eli Manning, with that catch.
Wow. Yeah.
Signed it. Sand signed. If you're a Giant fan
so
out there.
To enter to win that, they just have to comment below with their favorite Giants moment to enter to win Eli Manning's autograph.
That's fabulous.
One more time, Ben?
A comment below with your favorite Giants moment, all-time moment, with the Super Bowls, a catch, with Eli, whatever player.
Remember the salsa dance we did with Cruz?
Victor. I love Victor.
Is he
We're trying to get Victor. He got too big. He didn't come up here and do a pod with me. I'm very upset with him when I see him. But he's my boy. I love him.
I got a cell number. Should we call him?
We should call him, man. We should get on him, man. I don't know what I don't know. He should still be in the NFL, maybe even.
Yeah. He was great.
And a great story too.
Oh, the Victor Cruz. We had the salsa
story.
T-shirts with the steps on the back of the T-shirt. We brought in 30 salsa dancers into our West 42nd Street. We brought bands in. It was, I mean, you know what? It's about celebration of sport.
Yeah. What was the biggest event that Modell's has ever experienced that's had the biggest impact on you?
Yankees, Mets.
Subway?
Subway Series.
Remember we were in the stores with Bobby V? We were just talking about that, how we had done a signing with Bobby V and Joe Torre, and I forgot to get a car to take him over to Modell's because we were going to go shopping, and he flags down a bus that's out of service, and the bus takes us to Modell's. But he had a ball there. He was talking about, you know, he went crazy in that store.
So why was it so strong? Because normally, you know, if you have, if the Mets are in the World Series or the Yankees are in the World Series, you know, 100% of New Yorkers aren't Yankee fans or Met fans. When you have both of them combined, you know, what makes Philadelphia so strong? Because you have one team, and the whole city and state rallies behind the team. In New York, with, you know, we have two teams in every sport. You know, you never get 100% unless they play each other. So that was, I'll never forget. We're trying to get T-shirts, and Faust Fabianco, the CEO of Majestic, we're trying to get deliveries, right, of the Subway car T-shirts. And I'm going crazy. And I'm calling his cell, and I'm calling his home, and it's an emergency. And I finally get to him, and he's picks up the cell, and I can't hear him. I go, Faust, I can't hear you. He goes, I'm getting root canal. I can't talk. I got Novocaine in my mouth. And that was a story that lived for years.
But you tracked him.
You got to do what you got to do to get stuff done.
You tracked them.
Tracked them down.
Because you were running out of merch. I mean, merch is just flying. Lines out the door.
It was crazy.
You know, remember when we did the Darryl towel?
Oh, unbelievable.
Sold like 50,000 Darryl towels. He came right.
5 days.
But you're talking about doing what you got to do. I picked up Darryl outside the hospital. I didn't want to be. I brought him right to Modell. He had just had it. He just had, you know,
his surgery. We gave $1 to cancer.
He had just gotten out. I mean, the guy is like barely walking. And
50,000.
I'm right outside there with Darryl. I'm not letting you go home.
And what about the large Jack Perlman, who I was just with, who was a marketing guru? Remember Jack?
Marketing guru, PR guru. Where's Jack?
Jack he's like the Donald Trump of developing. He's got 5 hotels in Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw them.
He was a character,
but
man.
what a character. He had the largest get well card with Darryl Strawberry outside Yankee Stadium. Guinness Book of Records, and people were signing it.
Yeah.
And how about in our East 42nd Street store at the time?
Love that store. Right
in
near Metro North. But the other store on 42nd is really cool, too.
Yeah, 7th and
8th. 7th and 8th?
Yeah. Jack had...
I think that's your best store, by the way.
It's a great store. It's a flagship.
That's how I know that, though. Although I was on your 34th Street store right near the Garden. I got to tell you, that's
a great license store, yeah.
If you love, I mean, after, you know, I always go there before I go to the Garden because that's a good look. So you see all the new hot stuff. That store's on their game, by the way.
It's great.
The people in that store, maybe some of the best I've seen.
Mark's terrific. But anyway, so let me tell you
Mark, you know your store manager of each 158.
158. So
you know every manager of every 158 stores?
You have to.
What's wrong with you, though? I mean, how do you remember all this? How do you get around all these stores? I haven't even been out to my Roosevelt Field store.
That's
like in
terrible.
6 months.
Do you want me to do a surprise visit? I'll do a store visit. Yeah,
I'd love you to. Yeah.
I'll say, who is Brandon? We heard of him, but we never. But anyway, we had 4 TV stations in each corner of the store. We had Katie Couric in one station. We had CBS. We had ABC.
It was big.
It was insane.
I think it was maybe the best Steiner Modell promotion.
Yeah, it was great.
Right? I mean, that Darryl thing.
The Darryl towel.
He's like, "Are you sure he's coming?" I'm like, "Mitch."
FAN. Wasn't it Joel Hollander?
Yeah.
You, me, Joel Hollander.
I'm like, I'm in the hospital waiting for him to get off the elevator. There's no way this guy's getting out of my eyesight. And I took him right to the store. Nobody got to talk to him, nothing. Right to the store.
Unbelievable. Those are the
Sometimes you just got to go get it. You just got to go get it. There's nothing can get in your way. You just got to go get it done. I mean, there's no two ways about it.
We got a lot of people asking about, Mitch, all the charitable endeavors you're involved with. What's your favorite thing right now? What are you up to?
So, unfortunately, my brother, who passed away at 48 years old in 2001, was diagnosed when he was 13 with ileitis. And we didn't know what that was. And we heard about Eisenhower had it, and my parents, said, "Well, what is this all about? I don't understand it." And from that, they built chapters in every state in the country. We've raised over $250 million in research in finding the cause and cure of Crohn's and colitis.
Wow.
And the most gratifying thing to me is, and this was 50 years ago. 50 years ago it happened. In 1960,
I was proud to be at one of your dinners, at a bunch of them, but when you honored me, and it's amazing what I learned that year when you had honored me, how many people are affected by this.
Yeah. You know, they call it the closet disease. No one wants to talk about it because, you know, you get cramping, and it's a
But it
really
seems
tough
like it seems like they've made progress.
Phenomenal. When I see on television all the different manufacturers promoting, you know, here are the new drugs, Humor for, you know, Crohn's and colitis. It all started with my parents. So that's near and dear. And then, you know, like this month we have Autism Month. So every customer that comes into a store, goes to the register, the cashiers will say, would you like to donate $1 to, you know, Autism Month? And then, you know, the New York Fighters, New York Fighters, and, you know, Rusty Staub's Foundation, you know,
how great was
firemen
Rusty?
And the policemen. He was great. I loved him.
How great was Rusty?
He loved the families of the widows of the firemen and the police that were killed in the line of duty, which is a phenomenal organization.
He was always doing a lot of good for a lot of people. I mean, back in his day, he was a big name in this town, and he never stopped. Just amazing.
He was great.
We're giving away. Now, by the way, we got a winner for the UI thing yet or not yet?
Yeah, that was Michael Kuritz, if I'm saying that right.
Michael Kuritz, congratulations. You won the UI photo. We're giving away. I love this puck, by the way.
That's all you're giving away?
What's from the Winter Classic puck?
Would you mark them out of inventory? This is what you're giving away to your customers that listen to it on a podcast at 8 in the morning?
You didn't ask me, but you know who's like our #1 seller at Steiner? It's Henrik Lundqvist.
Oh, I know that.
He's a rock star.
Yeah. And he signed the puck?
And he signed the puck. He's as good a guy as he is goalie.
Brandon, I take it back.
All right. Because see, I love Henrik. I'm not going to tell him you dogged him a little bit, but anyway, Henrik Lundqvist, Rangers. I know it's been a tough year for the Rangers, but there's nothing more loyal than the Ranger fan.
Oh.
They never go away. They stick.
How about the guy that's upstairs
Doing
3
the
minutes
dancing.
ago? What's his name? Right, when he dances.
Baby. Oh, God.
Oh, and
I
he's
love him.
crazed.
Yeah,
I mean,
love him.
this guy, you talk about bleeding blue. This guy bleeds blue.
There's nothing like the blue. There's nothing like a Ranger fan. They don't get caught up in the standings. They love their players, love their team. Who's your favorite Ranger, by the way?
Rod Gilbert.
You love Rod.
I love Rod. You know why?
Shoot the
People,
puck.
you know, shoot the puck, and wherever you go, he's such.
Yeah.
Judy and Rod, his wife Judy, is absolutely magnificent. Rod is so great. He's at every charity event, spends a lot of his time, different charities. You can never say no. And he's just a great guy. And you know, wherever he goes, people love him.
Yeah, and he's a Hall of Famer. Up on the rafters. I'm going to go with, so I'm not going to say it because I have too many favorites. But, so I'm going to give a props to Adam Graves.
Great guy.
I don't know.
He's a great speaker. You know, Barry Watkins, who had it. What was that Was that a retirement party? Was it an extension? What was the name of that thing?
Slow down party.
What's a slow down? But Barry, could you explain what a slow down? I think he's working harder now.
Ben, we have to get Barry in here to do a pod with him. We got to.
Does he watch your podcast?
Yeah. Did you like my blog I wrote on the slow down party? Did I send you that?
Yes, I saw that. It was great. The next day you said
that was one of my
favorite. And you said,
blogs.
what is a slow down party? I read it.
Well, everybody was like, what the F is a slow down party? Which, listen, I give him a lot of credit. I mean, Barry is
the people that showed up, the whole Ranger team showed up.
Let's start with it. Barry and I started, Steiner in 87, 88. Barry was an intern for the Rangers. We used to call each other, and he would get me John Van Beesbrook and a player for $500. He'd make $50, or I'd make $50 commission on the thing. It was insane. That's how far we go back. And now Barry's like really top guy at the Garden, communications, PR, works right directly with Dolan. And what I loved about that party, because, a guy gets up there for an hour, and he had to have thanked over 150 people. And with great detail, and I think gratefulness. But you think about it, listen, you run a great store, great operation. Think about how many people help you do what you do, become who you become. And when do you thank them?
Yeah,
can you adequately thank them?
You know what? And seeing Mark Messier, who I told you the next day, he looked phenomenal.
He did look good. Mark,
phenomenal.
Yeah, one of my favorites of all time. I don't put him down as my favorite Ranger. I put him down as my favorite people because He'll come to an event like that and spend 2 hours. And actually, when he gets up there to talk about Barry, it gets emotional.
Yeah,
they go back, you know,
No,
all
it
the
was
ways.
great. I'll never forget 1994. Right here,
It's right up there with Subway Series, by the way, in this
I
town,
would say
right?
I would say
Yeah.
probably one of the greatest events I've ever been to.
Game 7 Devils or Game 7 Canucks?
Well, let me tell you what happened. So it's 1994, and Rangers are up 3-1, and Starter was the licensee at the time, printing the T-shirts and the hats.
Satin jackets.
And I decided, you know, we're going to pre-print 100,000. We're going to get the stuff in early. 100,000 shirts, 100,000 hats. Okay? I think we had maybe 35 stores at the time. I said, we're going for it all. Okay? Everyone thought it was ingenious. Right? Ingenious. Now it's 3-1. Now it's 3-2. 3-3, I get a call from my father. I understand we pre-printed 100,000 T-shirts and hats. You're putting the company at risk, and you don't check with me before you make this kind of bonehead decision? Now I'm at the game, and I'm sweating. My life and my career is on the line. I go, Mark, you better make this
You were sitting
happen.
by the blue line in the second row.
Second row. Still the same seats.
25 years ago. That's insane. I know exactly where you are. Because I'm looking right over to you right now. Right over the, there was like something on the
I had
right?
you talking about Crohn's and colitis? If I was going to get it, I would have got it that night.
So you're out of your mind.
Out of my mind. It was like someone took a pin after they won the game and popped, and I go, oh, thank God.
Do you believe when you do things that you want to do extraordinary things, there's some risk involved? Do you think
yeah.
this? Do you think that's where people get off? They kind of get off the road, the risk part of it.
It's a risk reward. I mean, look, that was a huge gamble, but I figure 3-1. No one's ever lost, right? How do you lose? And then the same thing happened with our beloved Yankees.
Last
Up
year.
3-0. No, 2004.
Oh, right. Oh, my God. But you probably didn't go that deep on that because they weren't at the World Series level yet, were they?
No, it was AFC.
But what happened
championship.
last year? What happened last year? How deep into the Yankees were you last year? Did you have to make anything?
Oh, yeah. Houston. We were up 3-2 going to Houston.
Where's all that product?
Third
Third
world
world.
countries today. Yeah.
Can I get one of those, or you're really tight on that?
I can't.
You can, right?
I can't. Oh, no, you know what? They didn't go there. I'll tell you where they went. Robert Manfred, the commissioner. Normally, you're not allowed to sell any of these goods or dispose of these goods anywhere in the United States. Has to go to a third world country. Puerto Rico got hurt. Jorge Posada and Laura said, you know, what can we do? They did a fundraiser. I went to the commissioner. I said, listen, I know this is not normal. We're not normal times. These people don't have shirts. They don't have hats. They don't have, would you sign off on this? 2 seconds. Absolutely. This is where.
So do you know Rob? I mean,
yeah, Rob is
I mean, you
phenomenal.
calling Rob up? I mean, is it like that or?
No, but he, you know what? I speak to him. I see him
Yeah.
at games. Phenomenal commissioner. I mean, he has changed. He's just a.
You're a fan.
Oh, big fan of Rob Manfred. It's
Are you?
phenomenal.
Do you feel like? Do you feel like baseball, football, are the sports in the right direction as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of pressure on the commissioners.
A lot of pressure on the commissioners. You know, you always hear
You're
about.
dealing with a lot of lunatics.
Well, listen,
Bosses. You got 30 bosses.
right, and it's different than any other team.
Yeah.
You've got to be a politician. You got to balance all these different things, and you know you got to make sure you're balancing the fan base.
What's right.
What's right, and bring in revenues. And you always hear about the guys in the
Yeah.
in sports. Oh, why do they have these 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock games? The young kid, they say they want people to be engaged, but they're sleeping. You got to balance it. You know what? What I love one day, maybe to have a World Series game, like on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, and have the kids watch it or be able to go to it. Absolutely. But you know what? In today's day, it's about salaries and having the players happy and having the leagues and the owners engaged. So it's a tough balance. Tough balance.
Social media. You on social media? Like, what's your favorite? You like a Facebook guy, Instagram, Twitter? What do you, or do you like messing around with it?
Texting. I like texting. I leave that to my younger kids.
Scipio. You know, is it mass texting? Have you heard of that?
No.
You can mass text on your cell with Scipio. You know Randy Garn? We're going to go to McKay Roundtable in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You got to ask Randy about Scipio. I don't do it a lot because I don't think you can go bombard people on their cell phones. But you could send out a mass, like you send out a mass email, you could send out a mass text.
Wow, never heard of that.
Scipio, yeah. It's a bit, I just did a speech in Utah in November for the company. That's why I'm kind of familiar with them now. And I pop it out every now and then. It's a huge response. And then there's some people that get upset. Like, now you're texting me. All right. Like, well, I'm just trying to reach out and tell you that I'm doing da-da-da-da-da. But that would be a cool thing if, when you're, when you got something really special. Like you got the buy one, get, what do you get? Buy one, get three free? I forget what it was.
Buy one, get one 50 off. Second pair at 50 off.
For sneakers.
Well, it's sneakers, it's cleats, it's slides.
By the way, if you're in Kings Highway, you want to stop at that opening. It's gonna be.
Are you going to be there? Why don't you meet me there at 9 o'clock next Thursday?
Because I'll be in Seattle. Actually, going to see Amazon. Yeah, I'm an Amazon fan. Gotta go rock my Amazon account.
You going to see Mr. Bezos?
I would like to, but Bezos lives in Scarsdale. I'm trying to run into the brother by accident. You think if I'm like staying outside his house like many hours, is that weird?
Unbelievable.
You probably shouldn't do that. Yeah.
So we were talking about baseball before.
It'd be nice to meet him though. If you're out there, Bezos, Scarsdale, let's look up.
Let him play basketball in your court.
Trying. I've done everything. I don't know. Yes, but I'm not giving up. I think if not me, then who? Right?
So we've got those 2 tickets for the Yankees game tonight that you wanted to give away.
That's the big 20-degree weather. Hold.
That's the big prize today.
Why do you give some of the Red Sox tickets? 20-degree weather. No.
These are real tickets, though.
Brandon, you got to be kidding me. This is how you're treating them. What did I say? How do you serve your customer? Give them a Red Sox Yankee game when they're coming in May 8th, 9th, and 10th. You're giving them a 30-degree when it's snowing outside.
Okay. We have 2. We'll do both. We'll do both.
All right, let's call them.
Well, you know something. We'll give away.
How about if they go to a game with you? Why do you have 2 people go to the game with you? How great would that be?
Okay, hold on a second. When we catch up with this here for a second. We'll do the seats for tonight. We'll do that separately.
Okay.
Which we're going to probably do something after this. I think
that's a penalty. Is that a penalty?
What's the word today?
It's 6:30. It's a 6:30 game.
We're going to give away some tickets for tonight's game.
By the way, you got to love it. It's a 6:30 game. For the concern about kids, they want to make sure instead of a 7:30 game.
My thing is, and I love that.
I love that it's a 6:30 game.
I love that Lon is actually Lon is old school. The guy,
Lon Trost, we love him.
He is old school. What I love about Lon though is he will make adjustments and changes. Nobody stays his ear to the ground like Lon does with the fans. Because I said to Lon, I said, why the 1 o'clock game? Can't take the whole day off to go to these 1 o'clock games. Make it 3. And they tried like a 3 and 4 o'clock during the week games.
Do you know?
Like, Tuesday 1 o'clock. Like, why can't the Tuesday be 4 o'clock? Now I can take my kid out of school an hour early and bop over to the game.
Lon never takes a vacation, never. And a dear friend George Steinbrenner, when he was alive, Lon took 1 vacation. 1 vacation. He was away when George Steinbrenner passed away, and he had to come back from his trip.
I think he needs to take some vacation.
He's the hardest working guy.
I'm putting in for some long vacation.
Okay, I love it.
One of the probably hardest working guy in America.
Talk to Hal.
And his dad was a hard worker too. It probably kind of passed down. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
His son's a doctor, right? I mean,
yeah,
always promoting in the Yankee
magazines.
Yeah.
So hold on.
So what do we want to do with the tickets?
Why don't we do this?
No, what about the May 8th, 9th, 10th? No, the Red Sox tickets.
Why don't we go to a game? Why don't somebody be able to go to a game with me and you?
Okay, done. Could we use you have better seats?
Yeah, we'll use my seats.
Great.
But you're going to come with me in my seats?
Yes.
Now you are.
Yes. Let's invite 2 people to go with us. We'll network. Could they get some free stuff at your store? The sports memorabilia store? Like how much stuff could they get by tuning into podcasts?
We're going to give them a $250 gift card.
I love
$25, not $25.
Which is worth $250. Which is worth $250.
What can you get for $10? This is not like 1950 where $10 actually bought something.
You could buy at the opening.
$20 bought you a pair of clocks.
At the opening, you could buy 2 t-shirts. You could buy 2 shirts for $10, $5 each.
I forgot about the $10 shirt. By the way,
you can buy a Yankee t-shirt.
There is a $10 Yankee shirt at Modell's, which is unbelievable. Anyway, we'll have this contest today, all day, and we'll pick the winner out this afternoon to go to a Yankee Red Sox game with Mitch Modell and myself.
May 10th.
Bring a guest.
Put it May 10th.
That's a Sunday?
Thursday.
How
come you don't know the schedule? What do I know the schedule? No. You know why? I was with a friend of mine who wants to go to the Red Sox game on May 8th.
May 10th. April 10th or May 10th?
May.
I think I'm good on that day. Anyway, how are we
And if you're not
winner?
good, you're going to give your seats to
How are we
two
gonna pick
lucky
the winner?
fans out there.
The two of us are going to go with you. God help you. You better come with some energy. You better eat your Wheaties that morning because
What's that? Could you send him that energy book you were telling me about? What's
The
that
Energy
book?
Bus by John Gordon, by the way, is a must read. I love John. John's coming out with a new book in a month, which I don't want to spill his beans, but if you're a John Gordon fan, which I am, I just gave Mitch the book, No Complaining, which is a great book. He has like a whole program.
Well, I'm not going to complain when it's free. The book always reads better when it's free. When you pay for it,
I try. I always send out books, and I always try to send out. You got to have balls books. But
This is the third time you promoted this book, by the way. Third time. What are you stuck with them?
No, not at all.
So why don't we
This
give
book's
away a free
flying.
book?
First, let's figure out how we're going to give away the Yankee Red Sox tickets. What do we want to do with that, Ben? How do we do that? How do we pick the winner?
What about the ones for tonight? What are we going to do with those
We'll
first?
do the ones.
Who's
going to
go in 20-degree weather? I can't believe you're giving away in the snow.
Don't
It's going to
downplay the
snow.
Yankee thing. Yankee fans are tough. They're rugged. They fight through it. Not soft like you. People go to games when the weather's a little cold. You get a little shivery. Don't worry about it. I was there yesterday. You left early.
I
on
left
opening
early.
day.
Ninth inning is early.
On opening day.
Ninth inning is early.
Well, I didn't see you out in your seats.
well,
Where
maybe
were
it
you?
was the eighth inning.
Oh, so you were in the Legends Lounge. You didn't even go out. You didn't even sit on your seats.
Maybe it was the fifth inning. I mean,
I saw your people scooting. They were leaving like there was. I mean, it was like an evacuation plan.
I think they went back to the
Steve
office.
Sharippa, like third inning, gone.
Oh, come on. Don't. No,
I mean,
that's
Steve
not true.
left you like. I mean, you kidding me? That man was gone. He was like so cold, and meanwhile, he's probably going to the Garden, probably watch the Ranger game or something. Probably, right?
Jerry
That would be
Cooney,
Steve.
by the way.
That would be Steve. I didn't see Cooney. Where
Does
was Cooney?
Jerry Cooney watch this podcast? Let's get him on the phone.
Jerry Cooney does the podcast. He's been
You know
on
what?
with me.
We're going to get him on the phone now. We're
He's
going to wake
been.
him up. Guy Bales, right? And then I'm watching the Ranger game, the Knick game, and who's sitting
We gotta
front
get him on
row?
the phone.
Let's get him on the phone.
Meanwhile,
I'm getting
if you
him on
want to
the
go to
phone.
if you want to go to the Red Sox Yankee, if you've hung in this long on this live cast, which I'm not sure if you're still there, but if you are, Ben just posted again to rewatch this thing. In order to go to the game with Mitch and I on the 10th of May, you're gonna have to tell me something. The favorite thing, either this book or the last book. What's your favorite thing you've learned from one of the two books? So you haven't read the book, you ain't coming to the game with us. But if you have, and you can tell me the favorite thing you've learned from the Balls book or the Business Playbook, you're coming to the game with us. And by the way, you better eat your Wheaties because to keep up with the both of us will not be easy.
I can't believe he's not
I
picking
can't
up.
keep up with him.
He's not picking up.
I wouldn't blame him. The man blew you off on opening day.
I hope the world heard this telephone number.
At the tone, please record the message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Jerry, this is Brandon Steiner and Mitch Modell. I want to tell you something. They made a mistake in your weight classification. You used to be a heavyweight. I'm going back. I want the records changed. I think you're a lightweight. Where were you on opening day?
And then I see him at the Knick game, smiling, waving, signing autographs. Guy bails out on me, then shows up in the Knick game at the Garden that night. You're on a podcast. How many people watch it?
Mitch hasn't been blown off since college, which we'll get into that story in a minute. I mean, this is considered maybe
450,000 people, Jerry, realized and now know that you blew me off, but you went to the Knick game.
He's one of the top 3 blow-offs of Mitch Modell. The man's actually almost ready to go to therapy over this. It's not right.
Jerry, I still love you.
By the way, what happened in that college? Tell us that college story. When you went to college and what was the girl that blew you off? I'm trying to get the
Wendy
story.
Finkel?
Yeah, Wendy Finkel. What happened to
Oh,
Wendy
my
Finkel?
God. With Ross Greenberg, you got to bring. Why are you doing this to me in front of
I think
450,000
that's
people?
a great story. It's worth telling. Tell it.
Wendy Finkel, who was my girlfriend during college, we're having dinner. It was my birthday. We get the something at the sea on 3rd Avenue, romantic restaurant, right? And the check comes.
That's
and
an
she goes,
expensive restaurant, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, land
And she tells me at the end of the dinner, she goes, I want to let you know, tonight is our last dinner together. I'm breaking up with you. Excuse me? I met a guy at college. I'm madly in love with him. Okay? Who? I don't want to say. I'd rather not discuss it. Okay? And then 15 years later, when Ross Greenberg is being honored at Crohn's and Colitis, he comes
former
clean.
president of HBO.
Former president of HBO comes clean and tells me I was the guy Wendy Finkel was dating. Anyway, we invited Wendy to the dinner, and she came with the sons. And I go, look what you could have had. You could have got second row seats to the Yankees, or with this guy. And who's this guy you're married to now? And that was the Wendy Finkel story.
I love it. I love it.
Why do you always embarrass me?
It's easy to. Now, May 10th, are we good? Are you good? Am I going to get a call from your assistant?
Absolutely. May 10th, lock it in.
Can't go.
Lock it in. Lock it in.
All right. Lock it in. You got to tell me your favorite thing in one of these two books. We're going to pick a winner. You'll be able to bring a guest. We'll give away the tickets tonight. Legends, first row on the What's It Worth
in
show.
30-degree weather. And it's going to snow.
You know, Yankee fans are rugged. They're tough. Anyway, we do a What's It Worth show, which is going to be coming up, I think, at 11:30? 1:30. 1:30, which I'll be on, by the way, if I can regain my consciousness after this conversation at some point. But you love the What's It Worth show is very popular because we bring in all these really cool artifacts and we show people and we give them an idea what it's worth, like a Babe Ruth ball. Or, by the way, when are you selling your collection? You got to have a lot of stuff. What's your favorite collectible? My favorite collection, it's probably one that I stole from your office the last time I was here. I believe that. But you
Can I tell the Rivera story in '99? Yankees win the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going crazy. We're in the parking lot, right?
So cold.
The players' parking. It was freezing outside. We're there like an hour and a half after the game, and I see someone running around, okay, and it's Brandon. I go, Brandon, how incredible is this? Come on, you want to go out? Let's celebrate. He goes, I got to find Mo Rivera. What do you mean you got to find Mo Rivera? Mo Rivera told me there's a party at the Plaza Hotel at 1 in the morning. I got to sign him up. He's a big deal, okay? He just started with the Yankees a couple of years. I need him under contract. And Brandon was running around, signing, chasing everybody in the parking lot. In the old stadium, you know, if you're able to get in, all the players had to go there. That's where the cars were. And they couldn't avoid you. And I called you the next morning. I go, Brandon, how'd you do? And he goes, I nailed Mo. Well, because at that, you know, he was the MVP. I wouldn't say I nailed him, but I followed him. I stalked him and went to the party with him. You nailed him. What I love about that party was, by the way, which, you know, you're running around. I'm trying to decide Layritz, last home run of the century. Great guy, Jim. Love Jim. And then you got Mariano, and I'm like, I got to hang with Mariano. And I'm hanging with him. Finally, he's the last guy comes out, which is unbelievable. And he takes me over. He goes, come on, we're going to the Oak Room. And at the Oak Room, there may be less than 10 people that weren't players or their wives there. It was a very small, intimate party. How I got in, I have no idea. So I'm in the bathroom taking a leak, and I'm standing next to Tino Martinez. Isn't that too much? Isn't that TMI? Because is that a TMI statement? It's really, it's appropriate. You think your fans really? You couldn't say I was. It's doing appropriate because we're both, you know, doing that. And did you wash your hands? Of course. I'm looking over. Although I want to shake Tino's because, you know, the guy had a great series, and I'm standing next to him. I said, "This is a hell of a party, Tino." He goes, yeah, it's a hell of a party. You know how much? 6 figures this party cost me. I said, you guys drink up. Because it was Don Perignon. He paid for the whole party, yeah. It's over $100,000. Did you chip in? No. Of course I chipped in. How much money I paid those guys that year if they won? I like to think I contributed. I love it. It was a great party, though. Really special. Mitch, I could go on and on for you. By the way, if you come to us with some great stories about something you bought from Modell's and something you like, we're going to be giving away these gift cards all day. Like and share. Ben, did you post the like and share? How about this? Hold it. How about we have, what, 10 cards here, $10? Yeah. How about the first 10 people that go to a Modell store, take a picture with the manager, send it to you, we'll send them the $10 gift card. Well, how about the 25 for the first person, the first couple? Oh, then they got to make a purchase. Brandon, you're giving away the farm. On the 25s here, but Brandon, you're giving away the farm. I'll tell you, the first person to actually take a picture of a Modell's bag, anything with Modell's on there right now, send that in, and I'll send you a $25 gift card. I love it. That's great. That works. That works. But you got, those are nice bags. You probably people save them. That works. Those are the big bags. It's hard to go to a store and find the big bag, but Modell's, you're assuming it's a big purchase. It's a big purchase, yeah. Absolutely. Steiner, Modell, I can't tell you how much. Sounds like a law firm. And deceased. Steiner, Modell, deceased. Sounds like a law firm. Only you would walk around with credential when the Giants won the. Remember you were posing as Modell, the owner of the. Only you would do that. And people thought he was a relative of the Modell family that owns the Browns, is it? Ravens. When the Ravens won, you were walking around acting like he was like a relative of Modell's. I was second cousin to Arthur. He was my father's first cousin. Oh, might as well jump on the bandwagon. You jumped on that bandwagon quick. How quick?
like quick enough to get into the locker room for that Super Bowl. I remember that story, and I was like, damn, that's a good story, man. Nobody does it like him. We'll see you in about 3 hours for What's It Worth. By the way, we have John Wallace, if you're a Syracuse fan. We saved the Premier Act for later. 3 o'clock with John Wallace, right, Ben? 2 o'clock. So we're going, What's It Worth? Then we're doing John Wallace.
This wasn't.
It's 8 in the morning. I mean, 8 in the morning. I mean, really? Could you not?
Why
come
can't I be on prime
hour?
time? Who even watches it?
This has been
besides
very
your family?
educational. If you woke up and caught this, I mean, nobody does it better. Nobody does it consistently like he does with his stores. Anyway, I want to hear from you on any of these things. We want to give away all these gift cards today. It's a pleasure. If you won the Eli Manning, congratulations. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon.